Of a tropical storm, Gabrielle, that we're finally talking about. Started talking about it yesterday, but man, we had to wait almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been tracking something in the Atlantic, so it looks like the lull has now closed. But I gotta be honest, Gabrielle is struggling, which is great news. We love it, right? Dusty air, wind shear, all the things that we look for in a forecast to give us a buffer. But the most important buffer with Gabrielle is space. I mean, this storm is far enough away from the Caribbean islands that we're not going to feel impacts, and the overall trend is looking pretty good for Bermuda. I will say Bermuda's time frame is early next week, so you always want to give it a little bit of time, but the last 24 to 36 hours, I like what I'm seeing on the computer models. Right now, winds are at 50 miles per hour.
Not all that bad, and when you talk about the direction, you're like, all right, it's moving northwest. Well, let's talk about what's going on, because the steering mechanisms take it back to the north and eventually off to the north and northeast. Nice, big trough of low pressure, or trough digging off through the United States will help give us that buffer. Also, as we noticed, Bermuda, we were talking about you yesterday. You were just east of the cone from the day before. The day before, you were right smack in the middle. So you stay with us and you see what's going on, and once again, you're just on in this case, the western side of the cone.
Yeah.
Which you'll still have some impacts, but at least you're not directly in the middle of it like you were.
And great to see this trend with the spacing, because this is anticipated to become not only a hurricane, but a formidable one. I mean, winds of 105, not nothing. That's a pretty strong hurricane that we're talking about. It's a possibility of being a Cat 2 at this point with the forecast. Lots of heat in the water. That's why the NHC is calling for this to be an intensifying system, is because of the water content. We got the heat, we got the fuel. That's what forces these storms to continue to grow. With that said, we do have some limiting factors right now. The dust, although it's waning, is still surrounding Gabrielle. Probably the biggest component in our favor has been the wind shear. The wind shear has been what's been really taking back this system, kind of fighting against its internal structure. But it's impressive to see Gabrielle hold on, and we actually will see that slight strengthening over the next 24 hours before you really let the reins off. And without those limiting factors, it will intensify quite quickly.
And when you look at the spaghetti track, it looks like everything's right in line right now. And once we get closer to Bermuda, we start to lose some of those effects that it's fighting right now, some of those factors that it's fighting off right now. And at that point, we'll be talking hurricane probably Sunday night, maybe Sunday afternoon, Sunday night into Monday.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, you're still going to have a hurricane that's passing to your east, but that's the better side to be on, so to speak.
Sure.
Keep in mind, the reason why this is not an East Coast storm is because we had this dip in the jet stream. That innately introduces wind shear into the forecast. So we could get into this setup where the active weather, the thunderstorms and all that stuff with this hurricane could be more heavy on the east side, even farther away from Gabrielle. So if you're going to have something to track in the Atlantic and you're looking at the Caribbean islands, looking at Bermuda, this is pretty much as good as it gets. So nice to see something in our favor. Yet again, we continue to get lucky.
Yeah, it does have those warmer waters to work with. That will also help it. So that's going to be one of those factors that once it gets past the wind, and of course it's out of the dust at this point, that's going to help it grow, and that'll be a nice looking system. There's the trough of low pressure you were just talking about, that second dip in the jet that goes really far south. And I think that's pretty important too, because if it was a little farther north, it'd be a different game. Nonetheless, we'll continue to watch what's been going on here. And behind Gabrielle, we're also monitoring another area that we're watching, and this one's pretty much right on the heels of Gabrielle. It currently has a pretty low chance of development, but we'll watch as we go into the middle portion of next week. This one coming off the coast of Africa, just real disorganized right now, also contending with dust. Now, dust has been a major player this entire season, coming off the coast of Africa, right? And to the north here, now we're starting to see the waters cool just a little bit. In the area where it's at, water temperatures are pretty conducive to see something develop, but to the north of there, where you see the possible development area in the yellow, water is a little bit cooler. We've got some drier air, and we have some more dust that's been moving through. So things working against it are in place. It's not the best environment that it's working into. And again, whenever you see this yellow, it goes up to orange and red. Basically, it's any place where we could see development. It's not a forecast cone. I know it kind of looks like that, but it's not really what that is. It's just where we could see development. Here you can see this cluster, Britta, coming off the coast there. We were watching this one earlier, just kind of falling apart. That's a nothing. But this area here we watch. And still, it has some time before it's fully off the coast and then eventually continues to track to the west. Look at all the dry air up into the north here. That's no good.
Well, it's interesting because on satellite, when you see these thunderstorms come off, they actually look healthier on land than over water. There's a look at the tropical threat exclusive to us here at Fox Weather. Again, this is the only place that you'll see this graphic, and it really gives you a good idea of the confidence here of could we see a tropical system form? And right now, it does not look favorable with this type of a setup. Again, because of the wind shear, the dry, dusty air, this tropical wave is going to struggle. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but right now we like what we're seeing in the forecast, showing that this probably will struggle to get its act together and become a named system.
Yeah, speaking of names, I mean, we are behind as far as naming. Umberto would be next on the list, and then Imelda. As we continue to go through the season, we watch also not only the MDR, the area we're watching right now, look at October 1st through the 7th. Brenda, my friend, we start to really hone in closer to home. Going into the fall season, we start to see there's a lot of warm water here. We've got the CAG that happens here. We could have stalled fronts. So a lot happens closer to home here. And guess what? We still have 42% of activity left into the season for the Atlantic.